come into the ring with a strategy and you have to eliminate their strategy. So that's why in sparring you work on just defending, moving out of range, going through the rounds and doing it.
Defend the straight shots, that's it, good. Feet now, good. Little feint again, that's it. Just keep it simple, don't give nothing away, that's it, nice.
There's former fighters or whoever, they don't give Jake any chance at all. I'm not saying he doesn't have any chance, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that, everybody in the know-how as far as the boxing world, they're like, Jake has zero chance to win this fight.
Being brought in to work with Jake, but I don't know that Ben Davidson would do that. I don't know if just as AJ leaves to go train with, and this is why I say Ben Davidson, AJ has left to go and train with Usyk's team. Left Ben Davidson, go train with Usyk's team. I don't know, because their relationship is so good, I don't know that Ben Davidson would just turncoat on AJ and help somebody prepare for him.
Anthony Joshua's training camp is getting a lot of attention as his fight with Jake Paul gets closer. New footage shows that he's taking his preparation very seriously. Every workout he does looks focused, intense, and full of purpose. The biggest surprise from his camp isn't a new training method, it's the people he's training with. Joshua has moved on from the Ben Davidson team and is now working with some members of Alexander Usyk's team, training outside of London in a quieter place. This is a big change because he's learning ideas from the fighter who beat him twice, trying to fix weaknesses instead of just relying on power. Reports recently confirmed this switch. Not everyone approves though. Some people in British boxing, especially Dillian Whyte, think changing camps too often might not be good and even say Joshua seems confused. All this criticism might add pressure, but it could also motivate Joshua even more.
That AJ has gone out to train with Alexander Usyk's team. So I don't know if that means Alexander Usyk per se, but Alexander Usyk's team. I have no issues with that at all. Some people might sort of throw out the phrase, if you can't beat them, join them. AJ's always kind of done that. A lot of fighters do this as well, by the way, but when it's AJ, it's big noise. A lot of fighters go to camps and spend a couple of weeks in a camp. Like, most fighters do it, in fact. They'll go to a camp, spend a couple of weeks, Obviously, it looks a bit different because AJ Usyk, but most fighters do that. I mean, there's no problem sort of soaking up knowledge and seeing how people do things. Like, why would you not want to see how one of the greatest heavyweights in the world trains and what he's doing over there? You'd want to see it. I don't know if it means AJ's going to jump ship and be trained by Alexander Usyk's team. I doubt that very much.
People inside Joshua's camp say he's using a very selective group of sparring partners, mainly southpaws to copy Jake Paul's tricky footwork, and lighter but fast heavyweights to match Jake's speed. The sparring focuses on short, high-intensity rounds that train Joshua to attack quickly, move out, and recover fast. Coaches keep switching sparring partners so Joshua faces many different styles, awkward movers, fast punchers, and fighters who like to clinch. This variety helps him prepare for Paul's mix of basic boxing and unusual movement. Meanwhile, Jake Paul's camp is also getting a lot of attention because of some surprising choices. Reports say Paul may be working with trainer Don Charles, who is known for coaching Daniel Dubois, a strong heavyweight who once beat Joshua by knockout. This move has raised questions because bringing in someone connected to an AJ knockout win seems like a strategic message. Analyst Wade also mentioned that Paul might try to bring in Ben Davidson, who previously trained Joshua but is no longer working with him. This makes Davidson another possible addition to Paul's team as he prepares for the fight.
Josh Taylor as well. So that would be a guy that's potentially being brought in to work with Jake, but I don't know that Ben Davidson would do that. I don't know if just as AJ leaves to go train with, and this is why I say Ben Davidson, AJ has left to go and train with Usyk's team. Left Ben Davidson, go train with Usyk's team. I don't know, because their relationship is so good, I don't know that Ben Davidson would just turncoat on AJ and help somebody prepare for him. Don't think that would happen, unless it was like a Tyson Fury who he already had a relationship with. So, that leaves another individual. That's Don Charles. Don Charles, British boxing trainer, known for coaching Derek Chisora, but also known for coaching one Daniel Dubois, who just so happened, as you see here in this little very small picture down on the right side, to, as of earlier this year, absolutely chin and stop AJ in dramatic, epic fashion in AJ's triumphant return after AJ stopped Francis Ngannou and had all his confidence back and was fighting for a world title, and Daniel Dubois said, "No, sir, not tonight." If this is true, it makes things very interesting. Don Charles was in a pretty much chaotic camp. You guys remember with Daniel Dubois, it was like Daniel Dubois' dad was also kind of training him, which was an issue with Shane McGuigan when he was there, and then Don Charles came in and it was chaos in the corner, and Don was trying to coach, and couldn't really do it, and a lot of people thought that Don didn't get his fair shake when it came to Daniel Dubois, and got a lot of the blame for Dubois losing to Usyk just a couple of months ago. But he is a very good trainer and a guy that just worked on a game plan to beat Anthony Joshua. Now again, Daniel Dubois is also 6'4" and 250 pounds with a crazy reach. So you can't teach Jake Paul that. What will Don Charles teach to Jake if that's...
While people keep talking about Jake Paul's different coaching choices, podcast host Henry shifts the focus to the physical reality of this fight. He explains that Jake Paul weighs around 227 pounds, and Anthony Joshua is about 245 pounds. At first, Paul might have thought a 20-pound difference isn't a big deal. But Henry says the real issue isn't the number on the scale, it's everything else that comes with it. Joshua is taller, has far more experience, and knows how to handle long, high-pressure fights. He has spent years going deep into rounds against top-level opponents, which has built a level of stamina and conditioning that Jake Paul has never had to develop.
Whatever, and I'll still be able to go and fight MMA fighters and all that sort of thing. I think he well knows that he could lose against someone much worse than Joshua, so why not just do it? At the same time, yeah, it's entirely possible he also thinks he could genuinely put a dent in Joshua and win this fight, which is mad. The other factors are the circumstances of the fight. You know, it's an 8-rounder, so Jake may even be thinking, well, maybe I can out-jab him for a round and run around. I'm quicker than him, potentially. Maybe my gas tank's better than his. Potentially, I can do this for 8 rounds. I'm going to say now I don't think his gas tank is better than AJ's, and there's another reason why that's definitely not going to be the case, in my opinion. But Jake might be telling himself this. Or worst case scenario, I am getting hurt. He is winning the fight, but I can run around for 8 rounds, make AJ look silly. I can frustrate him, get through it on a points loss, which would be a giant win for Jake and a massive, massive loss for AJ if he just won this fight on points. The other thing is the fact that they're putting in a weight clause in this fight. So there is a maximum weight limit for the fight. Apparently, Anthony Joshua can't weigh more than 245 pounds. And just to give you context for what that means, Anthony Joshua's previous weights, Daniel Dubois, he was 252 and a quarter, Francis Ngannou 252 and a half, Wallen 251, Helenius 250, Franklin 255, and then the Usyk fights, he was in the 240, so 240 and 244 and a half. Basically, it's a weight that Anthony Joshua hasn't been in 3 years. But also, Anthony Joshua, as a heavyweight, has never had to cut weight. So even if he is in the 250s, let's say he's the same weight as Ngannou, it's a 7-pound water cut, which isn't really much when you're a man as big as Anthony Joshua, if indeed that's what he decides to do, rather than just taking the weight off anyway. And if he does decide to take the weight off anyway, what we'll see is someone who's got better stamina. But again, I think this gives Jake Paul confidence. He thinks, well, I'll come in probably around about 220. He was 227 when he fought Mike Tyson, so he'll probably be thinking, well, it might only be a 20-pound weight difference, which is not insurmountable. I'm talking as if I'm Jake Paul right now, just to reiterate. And if he does decide to cut water weight, which maybe they know Joshua's pretty big right now because he's not been fighting for a while. I think he's been in some sort of training camp, but another factor is Joshua's coming off the back of an elbow surgery. He has an issue.
Johnny Nelson adds to the discussion by saying confidently that Jake Paul is making a huge mistake by taking this fight. He believes the risks are far bigger than any possible reward, calling it one of the most questionable decisions in Paul's boxing career. Nelson explains that facing someone with Anthony Joshua's level of skill isn't just ambitious, it's unnecessarily dangerous. He says Paul could have kept fighting opponents closer to his level and slowly worked his way up. Instead, he jumped straight toward one of the most powerful and intimidating heavyweights of this era. According to Nelson, this jump could cost Paul badly because Joshua has speed, power, accuracy, and years of top-level experience. Against someone like Joshua, even one small mistake could end the fight immediately.
You know what? There's still something inside of me, that just tells me it's not gonna happen. And I don't know why. I don't know why, because all the press and the money's been spent on building this up. I'm like, there's something inside me thinking, this ain't gonna happen, even to the point where Jake Paul's hired Don Charles to be his coach or assistant coach or be involved in the team. You know, so he's making all the moves, and I just thought, if there's not a fix, if there's not some kind of settlement this, and it is legit, as I say it is, he's 10 hours gloves, over 8 rounds, it baffles me why Jake Paul would do it unless he's cashing out. I said it last week, I'll say it next week. I just think, is this gonna happen? Is it gonna happen? I just don't know, I'm struggling.
Ariel Helwani also shares his thoughts, saying that Jake Paul is stepping into something completely new. He explains that Paul has never fought anyone close to Anthony Joshua's size. All of Paul's previous opponents have been either smaller, the same size, or from lighter weight classes and different sports. Fighting someone as big, strong, and skilled as Joshua is a totally different challenge. Helwani says it's not just about weight, it's about the power, pressure, and presence that a true heavyweight like Joshua brings. The moment Joshua lands his first punch, Paul will immediately feel the difference between trading shots with cruiserweights and taking a hit from a real heavyweight.
He's a legitimate heavyweight, and the people he's been fighting are not, none of them are 1/10 of what this man is as a fighter. His opponent in this fight, I don't know what your opinion is on this, but I am genuinely curious, because even while I think a heavyweight has a chance in any fight, a puncher's chance, I don't think Jake Paul has anything for Anthony Joshua.
Do you respect him for taking it?
Yeah, you have to, because that's terrifying. Like that. Look, I understand that Jake Paul is ranked in cruiserweight, but there are weight classes for a reason, and this is a man that I thought was going to be the guy who knocked off Fury and Deontay Wilder, and a lot of people thought that. A lot of people thought he was going to be undisputed.
Two-time unified heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist in 2012. His last fight was for the title against Daniel Dubois and got knocked out. That was his last fight. So it's not like he's washed up. It's not like he's fighting bums and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a crazy thing. I get annoyed at the people who are doing like the sanctimonious thing, that this is a stain on AJ's legacy, that this is a stain on the sport of boxing, because you often hear that from people who actually don't watch boxing, don't know anything about AJ, don't know anything about the sport, and it's like, save me the sanctimony, because as you probably know, boxing has been doing fights like this for decades. In 1976, Muhammad Ali, who was the heavyweight champion of the world, went to Japan and fought a guy named Antonio Inoki in a mixed rules pro wrestling match. In 1975, after the Rumble in the Jungle, George Foreman, after losing to Ali, went to Toronto, Maple Leaf Gardens on a Saturday afternoon and fought 5 jobbers. Like, this stuff happens, and so I don't think this is... Wait, what? Yeah, he fought 5 people on the...
The discussion heats up even more when Simon Jordan, Spencer Oliver, and Liam Cameron say that Jake Paul beating Anthony Joshua would be a disaster for boxing. They argue that if Paul somehow pulled off such an upset, it would become the most shocking moment in the sport's history. Joshua has spent years earning his place, beating world champions, winning major titles, and leading the heavyweight division. Paul, meanwhile, only started boxing a few years ago and has mostly fought opponents who aren't true heavyweights. Jordan says that a win for Paul wouldn't just be surprising, it would shake the entire sport. Oliver adds that traditional boxing fans would find it hard to accept because it would go against everything the sport teaches about experience, skill development, and earning your way up.
Now he's got more movement and whatnot. And no disrespect to Jake Paul here, you go like, without looking past Jake Paul, but he could look past Jake Paul because, when you're talking about comparisons, these two guys are worlds apart. You have to respect Jake Paul for stepping up to the plate and actually going through with this fight, because I'm still trying to give my head a wobble on this whole situation. Going, what are you actually doing?
I respect Jake Paul for what he's done. I never thought that you'd talk like this about boxing, but we do. I respect Jake Paul because he's come over to another industry. He's made the other industry make him a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And he's actually helping a lot of female fighters and women boxing as well by putting his promotion on. So I respect him massively. But if Anthony Joshua was to lose to Jake Paul, it would be the biggest upset, travesty, whatever you want to call it, in boxing history. So he has to look past Jake Paul.
Well, let's hear from Anthony talking to the media in Miami. One of the questions that was put to him was about his lengthy stint outside of the ring.
So I took 12 months out of the game, realigned my vision board, and consolidated a lot of things, trimmed down my team. And I said I need 12 months to do that, so I took 12 months out of the game. We was moving at 100 miles an hour with my blinkers on. So then I took my blinkers off, looked at the landscape, and I just changed a lot of things in my life. It took a bit of time, but I said I need 12 months, and now we're here. So 12 months out of the game, and from September 21st, if you think about it back then, to now, December, that's 3 months. So most people take about 8 to 12 weeks to prepare for a fight. So this was like a preparation for a fight, basically. So this will be my first prep and fight in December. So no, I won't be trained by Ben Davison. I said that London's a bit distracting for me. So I was invited to train with Team Usyk. So I've been in Spain. We've been doing some good training out in Spain. And I think he's one of the best in the world.
Meanwhile, the hosts of the Strawberry Park podcast offer a different angle by talking about Jake Paul's personality and public image. They say Paul has deliberately created a persona that makes people want to watch him either because they support him or because they want to see him lose. According to them, Paul understands that controversy attracts attention, and being disliked actually helps him. By allowing himself to be the villain, he ensures huge viewership every time he fights. With the Joshua matchup, the hosts believe fans will tune in not just because the fight is interesting, but because many want to see Paul get knocked out by a real heavyweight. Paul's strategy of using hype, drama, and dislike has worked many times before, and they think it will make this fight even bigger.
Haters and the lovers are gonna watch because the haters want to like hate watch and shit.
I think Jake Paul purposely wants people to hate him because they're gonna buy the fight.
I think that's been his whole stick, right? Like his whole career.
If you watch Jake Paul on a podcast for an hour and a half, I feel like he's a very likable person. He's very chill and just like a nice guy. But turns it up the trolling so that people can be like, yeah, that guy. That way they can be tuning in and talking about his fight.
He knows what he's doing.
And it doesn't truly matter if you're living in your $32 million house in Puerto Rico. Like, who cares?
They're characters.
What anybody says.
Yes.
They master the characters that work for them.
I think if you're someone who's like, I hate Jake Paul, I think you're a sheep, because that's exactly what he wants, and you're gonna watch the fight and tune in and make your little tweet, and it's gonna get him more money. It's like you're on a completely different wavelength. It's like you're a shrimp and he's a shark.
Yeah, it's like going to a WWE match and watching the guy come out that everyone hates, and everyone's like, boo, boo. That's the script. He's supposed to be that guy or whatever. That's all part of it.
It's like, have you ever met this person in real life? Well, no, but I hate him. Well, what did they say that makes you hate him? Well, just the stuff, the clips that you see. Like, yeah, I might see someone, they might say something that I'm like, okay, I don't agree with that. But I don't holistically hate that person. Oh no, I see. And also the people who, oh, it's rigged, whatever. I know that there's plenty of rigging in sports at all times. So I can't definitively say what I think is rigged or what isn't, because I'm not in there playing. So I really don't know. But the boxing, I never thought that the boxing, like, you see, he knocked him out here, and then he gave him a signal.
He gave him a signal. I'm like, dude, stuff happens so fast.
I'm like,
they weren't thinking about that.
I'm like, dude, I think that you're reaching a little bit with the rig thing.
And it seems like everything they've done is like...
BJ Flores, who used to train Jake Paul, gives his view on why Paul chose this fight. He says Paul wants to prove he can compete with real boxers, not just celebrities or fighters from other sports. Paul has always wanted to challenge himself, and fighting Joshua is the biggest test of his career. But according to Flores, the problem isn't Paul's ambition, it's the timing. He believes Paul is taking this fight too soon. While wanting to prove yourself is good, Flores thinks Paul is trying to move up faster than he should. Facing someone like Joshua before fully learning the advanced skills of boxing could turn what should be a learning experience into a harsh reality check. Flores respects Paul's hard work, but he still believes the difference in experience between the two fighters is far too big right now.
And, to anybody in the industry, Anthony Joshua is a world champion, a gold medalist. This is a big difference from, anybody else that, Jake's fought in the past. But, he's looking for these big challenges. He wants to fight the toughest guys. And I think with Anthony Joshua, he got exactly that. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a guy I would have never dreamed in a million years Jake would have fought him. In his fifth year boxing, in a fight situation like this. I thought he would have given it a little more time, but I mean, this is an extremely difficult fight. Anthony Joshua is 6'6", 245 pounds, extremely dangerous, gold medalist, world champion, and I think this is a very, very difficult fight for Jake. So I wouldn't have made this fight. No.
What do you give it in terms of percentage-wise? Like 60% AJ wins, 40% Jake Paul wins, or 50-50, 70-30? How do you give it?
Well, I mean, you got to go up when you go off the resumes. That's what I go off of. A lot of people will say potential, like, oh, this could happen, this could happen. I only go off like who's beating who. So if you look at it on paper, it doesn't look like Jake has any chance on paper, but I think that's probably why he wanted to make this fight. And like I said, I'm not in the camp, so I don't know all the conversations that are going on in camp Jake Paul right now. But on paper, this looks like an extremely difficult fight. And any boxing experts, that I've talked to, whether it's former fighters or whoever, just they don't give Jake any chance at all. I'm not saying he doesn't have any chance. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that, everybody in the know-how as far as the boxing world, they're like, Jake has zero chance to win this fight. And, it is on paper, though. It does seem like it's early. And it does.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for the next one, and don't forget to subscribe to my Fight Flick channel.